ones that I've heard about. Both the Malachi Passamaquoddy from what the legends I'm familiar with and the ones that I've heard about, both the Malachi Passamaquoddy as well as the Micmac have a strong tradition. For example, along the St. John River there are certain geographic configurations of the shape of the earth, and they all go back to stories of when Koluscap shaped it. Some of them are Koluscap's footprints, or various ones. I can't remember all of them. Nova Scotia is a good example of a lot of stuff where Koluscap hung out there and formed certain geographic things. They happened all for a reason, and you have to refer back to the legends, obviously, because one of Koluscap's functions is that he was so powerful that he was able to shape the earth. Is the very basis to our creation story, in a sense. And there's one legend that I just read a couple of weeks ago where Koluscap really was formed out of the dirt, kicked up when Adam was created. Obviously there was a Christian influence here because now we have Adam and the Genesis sort of intertwined. And what the legends ends up is Koluscap is an assistant to the Creator as the Creator is building the earth. It's kind of neat to think of things in non-traditional ways, because most everybody grows up, especially in Christianity, with the concept that the world is created according to Genesis, which was also an oral story. That was an oral story handed from generation to generation. It was only until they began recording some stuff in the Bible that they took that oral creation story and put it into a written form. And that's why it survives. Ours survive because our oral traditions continue, and there are various versions. But Koluscap is a very fundamental and key component in why places are called what they're called, because he was able to manipulate the energy, animals, the shape of animals, how animals look, how geography is, how water flowed, how mountains behaved, how the climate behaved. It was all shaped because of Koluscap, and there are lots of stories that go with this kind of thing. And so it's a very rich tradition that we have. A lot of it got lost or went underground, I think is a better term for it, when the Catholic Church came along, when the missionaries came along. Because if you have all of that going for you, you can't readily convert a people unless you alienate them from themselves. And how do you alienate them from themselves? You take their stories and suppress them. And that's what happened in our situation. And it's not just us, it happens to any colonizing power. And it's recorded throughout history. And the other thing that is a testimony to us is, after all that, it still survives. And our job now is to figure out a way to preserve that information so future generations can use it to shape their own destiny. It's obviously we can't do it all. Our job right now is to rescue as much of it as possible because it's still out there. And there's been a period in the last 100 years when that hasn't happened. And so it's our turn and the next generation's turn to do that. And then whatever future there is in generations to come will obviously be dependent on what we do. So it's pretty important that we do it, and it's pretty important that we be accurate. And I think that when you follow the Koluscap legends, you can't go wrong because your place names emerge from that.